What's going on, everybody? We are back with another episode. It is Kenny Gaines here, your co-host. We're here without our main host today, J Mac. He's handling some business on behalf of the brand. Shout out to you, J Mac, for everything that you do. And be safe in your travels, brother. But today we have a special guest. First, I'm going to start with the guest to my left, Mr. Two-time NBA champion, about to be 3, by the way. I like it. You know what I'm saying? One of the Mr. Georges himself, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. How you feeling today, big dog?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm supposed to be Mr. George about basketball, but no.
Yeah.
My brother to my left.
We're going to have to cut out the room. That's exclusive.
My other guest, our other brother, welcome to Dawg Talk, my brother,
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Marcus Thornton.
Yeah.
Welcome to the building.
So, today we got a very special guest. It's one of our brothers that we've known forever and a day. I got to give him the proper introduction because he is a dog. So, Mr. 2009 Slam Dunk champion. Come on, we having good statisticals on you.
A couple of those back
You know what I'm saying? AJC one too, not the fake one. AJC one.
was froggy back in the day.
You feel me? 2010 Class 5A North Player of the Year, 4th team All-American selection by the Parade magazine, 1st team All-American selection by ESPN Rise All-American team.
You got some accolades, but
You know what I'm saying? 2010, he marked the Westlake Lions to their 3rd state Final Four berth in the 4 years that he played at Westlake. He averaged as a senior 23.5 points, 12.1 rebounds, and 4 blocks per game. And he reached the state championship in Class 5A. And he was named Mr. Basketball in Georgia in 2010 as well by the Atlanta Tip-Off Club.
Yeah,
who was also run by the AJC, Mr. Marcus Thornton. Y'all put some W's in the chat, man. How you feeling today,
what's up, baby?
Yeah, man, you all
What
right?
up, y'all? Dawg Talk, man. I'm grateful to be here
That
today.
Mr. Georgia basketball.
You feel?
Man,
Yeah.
my debut. I want to get right into it. We were talking a little bit about that.
You gotta get right.
Yeah,
into
let's
it.
do it.
man.
So how did?
That year was supposed to be mine, man. I don't know.
Your senior year was supposed to be yours,
Yeah, but
we could. That's a long discussion. Y'all let me know when y'all ready for that.
Yeah, I mean,
got some thoughts.
we can actually hop right into your high school accolades and success, which this is right on par for what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So you started out at Westlake High School. Give us kind of your feel of what it was, transitioning to Westlake from Sandtown, because that was the feeder middle school system, and playing for Coach Rogers. How was that?
Man, so I had an amazing experience as a young person growing up playing basketball, being from Atlanta. That's first and foremost. We come from a special place, Southwest Atlanta.
SWAT, the
It's
real
just
one.
a cool place to grow up. You see a lot of people that look like us that are successful in different ways.
Yeah.
And so sports always being one of them. And when you grow up in an area like that, all you want to do, if you're like me, you come from what I call you want to be the big dog, big man on campus, big dog. So when I was coming from middle school to high school and going to Westlake, the big man on campus was a gentleman by the name of Cam Newton.
Okay.
And Cam Newton was the first time I ever seen
Shout
Cam
out
Newton
Cam.
play.
Yeah.
Big shout out Cam. First time I ever saw Cam play was when I was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And I went to go see the basketball team play, which at that time were undefeated, and they were a state runner-up that year.
Yeah.
But,
you hoop too.
yeah, he hooped.
Did
So
he really
he's
look like Superman? Like,
That's
because a lot of people haven't seen him in real
Story
life.
time in 8th grade. Obviously, at this point in time, everything about a high school basketball game, AAU anything about basketball above your level is everything you aspire to be, try to emulate. So I'm at this game. It's Westlake. They're playing Dunwoody. And Dunwoody at the time had, this will throw y'all back, their best player, dude named N1 Wilderness. He played at Charlotte, but they had Pierre and Kier Jordan. So shout out both Key and P.
Yeah.
They had Del Juan. They had Zach Swans. They were loaded. You know what I'm saying? They had some other big men, so they had a really good team. And then Westlake, we had a couple guys, Jerome Burnett that played at Maryland, AJ, a couple other dudes. But Cam,
All them guys played AAU ball together.
Yeah.
Georgia Stars Georgia Stars, and then them guys played with the Celtics. All them guys played with the Celtics. These guys played with the Georgia Stars on our side.
Yeah.
So I'm at this game, they warming up, and you know back then we're entering the dunking era. It's all about dunking. So warm up.
If you
We
know,
in there
you
early.
fine.
We there for the girls. I'm trying to see y'all warm up halftime of the girls game. I want to see. I'm there for the area show. So they in warm ups. I just remember there was this dude. He's real like live wire. He got all the facial expressions and he just he's screaming.
Yeah.
I'm like, and he got this red afro, and he is, bro. I'm telling you, he's at least. You know, I'm 8th grade. At the time, everybody looked bigger. So he looked like he about 6'7".
Yeah.
235. It's cuts. Top cut, lower cut. It's all cuts.
Yeah, he having it.
You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, at the time, I'm there. I'm with all my 8th grade partners. And a lot of them, you know, they met. They played at Westlake with me.
Yeah.
So we looking. They like, hey, man, this dude's supposed to be one of the, you know, best football players. I was like, oh, that makes sense. He a junior, okay? Mm-hmm. What position he play? They're like, quarterback. Huh?
Yeah.
At that time, it had never been anybody. It had never been a freak of nature that played the position, I don't think, in our lifetime.
Yeah.
6'8".
And so, and he was, you know, so they play the game. Obviously, Westlake won, and it was, you know, everything from there. But when I got there to Westlake as a freshman, he was a senior. He was a big man on campus. And he was, you know, the quarterback, and he wore number 2. Yeah. So that was the real first inspiration I had at Westlake to try to, like, this is where I want to be by the end of this journey.
Yeah.
And so that set the foundation from what I aspired to be. Now, along the way, it was really a super duper competitive environment to come up in.
Yeah.
And again, this is where we're gonna start doing story time.
Yeah.
Because both of y'all were supposed to come to Westlake High School too.
I wasn't finna go because they starting point guard with 6'4".
Listen, let me tell you this. This man right here on the far right lived closer to Westlake High School than I ever lived. Literally. A mile and a half away, 2 turns, and it's on you.
Bruh.
You know what I mean?
It was crazy because my mom had asked me, she said, look, this is a pivotal year for you. This is going into my sophomore year. Either you can go to Westlake right around the corner or you can go to Whitfield. And I was like, now this is kind of embarrassing, but at the same time, it is my truth. I was like, I ain't gonna hold you, man. I ain't got enough clothes to survive in public school at that level, so I'm gonna just go where they having uniforms. So it make my life easier. So that's one of the reasons I ain't come to Westlake outside of all y'all being 6'6".
But they had a swag.
Let me tell you, that's a completely
swag.
reasonable reason. I'm gonna tell you this, knowing, you know, and having that same, you know, apprehension when I was getting ready to go to public school from private school. But that young fellow over there was definitely supposed to go.
Who would have been there
This guy to my right was supposed to be there too, quiet as kept.
Same year.
Definitely my senior year he was supposed to come. We're gonna tell that. We can tell that whole story later. But yeah, it was just I had a good experience at Westlake, and you know I had to climb the ladder. It was other dudes that was there that were high major, that were mid major, that were really good players, all region, state, whatever, all the accolades.
Yeah.
And you know I had to climb and become the guy that, you know, go ahead of some people who thought they should be better than me. Probably the whole time because it was a really competitive environment. So it was fun to climb that rank and get to it at the end. We're almost stumbling into it, not really understanding how far I had climbed by the end of it, and it just all kind of come together. So.
Nah, that makes sense. And like you said, you definitely came up in a competitive environment at Westlake because you played with the McDonald's All-American and Jelan Kendrick.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, man, that's my guy. I train and do stuff. We coach together now. On our side of town with the youth. So that's a whole, you know, evolution. But that was my guy I came up with Jelan. Growing up, he was naturally the most talented player I played with and against. He had confidence, swagger, grit, all of it. Everything, he reminded me a lot of what Ann is like now in regards to his charisma. He had that for us.
Juwan was nice.
Yeah, he was nice. And so he was one of those guys ranked high early. We played together as juniors in high school. We had talked about that a lot going into that. We had a good year, but we ended up, you know, that was a good experience and a good stop on the road. And obviously we ended up continuing to climb that ladder.
So now shifting from high school, going to college. Originally committed to Clemson.
Yeah.
What led into that decision? Because we know that you made a shift, but what led into that decision initially?
So that was early on. That was probably like 16 and under, AAU, so whatever, I guess going into my junior year. They just, you know, you go on visits and you do that whole process when you first get offered. And they just wanted me far more than anybody else at that point in time. And I had a lot of schools I thought I wanted to go to at that time that were recruiting me, and they recruited me hard. Schools at that time was Wake Forest, was Tennessee, Virginia Tech, Alabama, Georgia, all the SEC schools.
Yeah.
You know, you got your dream schools, you got the Blue Bloods. So you're like, man. And at the time, I wanted to wait and try to perform and get some of those. But my parents would just press me and be like, man, you know, I'm just afraid they in there telling that to somebody else. But they telling you in these rooms, I don't want to hear nothing else.
Yeah.
Everything.
But that's a fact, though.
Y'all know how my pops is.
Yeah.
You know, he was looking for some.
Shout out Big Billy, man. You know what I'm saying?
He was looking for some specific things, and they had them, and it was always easy to question anywhere else. He was just like, you need to go on ahead and, you know, he better press the line. You go ahead and commit.
But that says a lot about Clemson, though, because we know how your father is. He cares about basketball and the educational portion too. So it had to be a good educational school for him to be like, nah, like we need to go ahead.
They had the whole thing going, and it goes to show they had a lot of success. Not really. I mean, in basketball they did. They still had the same coach that was the head coach when Coach
Barnell
was taking over. So that speaks a lot. They had continuity. Same football coach Sweeney had gotten the job. And they had a lot of success as a school. They won, football national championships, had basketball tournament runs, won in other sports.
Yeah.
So they were a good option. Right. We had, people that were our peers, like guys that you play AAU with that went to that school and had success too.
Yep. Shout out Jelan and shout out KJ McDaniels too.
For sure. And those are people that, you know what I'm saying, that were our contemporaries that went on. So it was a good choice. Yeah. But it was, it come down to relationships. So that's why.
How you make the switch then, like from that?
Yeah,
like,
talk us through that.
Like being, you know what I'm saying, you felt like they wanted you the more, but like the most, but then making the switch to Georgia.
Yeah, for sure. So
what made that decision?
It was all because of the coaching change. But I say this about the Clemson folks. I met him through them, basically. When I first was getting really recruited hard by them, I used to always be like, man, there's this guy named Kentavious Caldwell. You played him. He plays with the Georgia Blazers. We need this. This guy is good. He's really good. This before we played in that wooden gym in Columbus where y'all be cheating. Y'all be cheating.
Who be cheating?
Y'all, you know what I'm talking about?
Man.
We still won.
They practiced in the dark for a week. So
the gym was all wood. Gym was like this right here. It was like this. It was all wood.
So, but that's all like.
It was wood on all sides. Never seen a gym like that. No center block, no nothing. Anyway, they told me about him, and that's how I got to know him. That was like 16, 17 at AAU when I was first getting locked in with Clemson. But fast forward how I switched. I go through my senior year, everything had all the success. And then I think it was maybe like early April, probably right after, sometime in that NCAA tournament, Final Four window, the coach who I committed to, who was Oliver Purnell, he up and left and went to DePaul.
Okay.
So that opened the window. I remember waking up and at the time, Norm Parker, the first text message I'm seeing, it was between him, me, and my dad. Like, hey, George enjoyed the tech, ready to talk. I didn't know what was going on. So I talked to him, hey, Purnell left, you got to go somewhere else. Lucky for me, I had such a good year and I had kind of peaked in really my ability, not for good, but at that point in time as a prospect, I had peaked.
I got you.
And so when I opened up my recruitment, I got recruited by every single school I ever dreamed of being recruited by.
Yeah.
Kentucky, North Carolina, these are my dream schools. Or at least Kentucky, they just had Calipari. North Carolina, Calipari came to the crib. Texas.
You had Cal
he came to the house.
SWAT.
I'm sure,
on
dig
Cascade.
them up, dig those files
you're
up.
a real one, gang.
And he pulled up to the crib.
You
know what I'm
So, man, all them came to the crib, and, that was an amazing experience. I visited some of the spots. And so I just ended up going to Georgia just based on relationships. I knew people that were on the team. I had at least 20, 30 people that were in my same grade or class that were going to Georgia at Westlake and at other spots. I knew all the football recruits. I played against them. I trained with Garrison Smith, Mike Thornton. I trained with Kendrick and TJ. I grew up with them. I grew up with the Ogletrees and Swan and all these folks that I literally came up with.
It felt like home.
Man, a lot of these guys I had known.
He missed that part a little bit, just a little bit. You call it like
I was there for my official. I enjoyed it.
Right.
All them
I was
places,
like my freshman year. Oh man,
we'd all known each other. Like I knew Rome.
Yeah.
all them boys.
My best partner. I knew Malcolm. I knew all these guys before they ever got there. So that part was extremely comfortable. And then the basketball seemed like at that time it was trying to do something. It was Trey Tompkins, Travis Leslie, them being draftable prospects, the whole nine.
It made sense. It's like an avenue. Like I can step right in and kind of fill this gap.
Yeah. And I had like some exposure. I really liked Georgia. I wanted to be Georgia, but I didn't. I had a dude I grew up playing with in AAU who was from Athens, and so I would come. This was early high school, maybe like 10th grade, and we would go on unofficial visits back then. At this point, I'm nobody, but I would come up And we would go to the games, and I was like, man, I wish I could be here. I wish I could do everything I wanted to do here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just that G, that red and black, like that's us. That's what it. That's being a Georgia boy. The colors, the dog, all of it just feels like, you know.
It really resonated with the spirit.
But the basketball didn't exist at the time. You know what I'm saying?
That's how I felt as far as like, truth be told, I was supposed to go to Florida State.
You were finna be a Seminole.
Yep. Coach
I know that.
That wouldn't have been a bad situation.
What's his name?
Andy Enfield.
Man, that was my dog.
Yeah, I remember.
He was like the first real recruiter, to really take me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I went to a game down there, went to a football game. Mm-hmm. Same thing he felt. I was like, man, shit, this is where I want to be.
Yeah.
Like, this is like football player coming out the tunnel. You got all that shit. I'm looking in the crowd like, oh.
Yeah. Now speaking on that, a lot of people don't know really like the vibe down there in Florida State. They like it's untalked about a lot. Now I've heard the inside stories that it's like extremely lit. And I've never been on a visit, so talk about that a little bit.
That was me. Like, man, I was maybe 9th grade, maybe 10th. That was on me early. But that's what I'm saying, like just building that relationship, like you said, I was already committed. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all know Tim.
Yeah.
Like, he wanted to go there. We was both going to go there. Like, he was recruiting me to go there. You know what I'm saying? Even though, like, you know what I'm saying, I was already like thinking about going there anyways.
Okay.
So Andy left. Mm-hmm. Reason I was like, all right, let I open up recruiting back up.
Yeah.
Boom, Virginia Tech, Coach Powellmore.
Mm-hmm.
Saw him first. He come to Greenville, walking around with it, talking to him. I think like week or two later, he coming down with Fox. Fox and Pearson.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's it. I'm like, here we go. Because I already had built another relationship with Powellmore, you know what I'm saying? Because he would text me, you know what I'm saying, sending me all like good messages, like just checking on me.
Yeah, staying tapped in.
Just staying tapped in.
Yeah.
And when he went and like left Virginia Tech and came to Georgia, I was saying, it was enough said for me.
Done deal, let's do it.
I 11th grade year.
Yeah.
I verbally committed because I couldn't sign it till your senior year.
Yeah.
Man, so my senior year, I was already had my college. I already had passed graduation tests. I'm in there I'm really coming to school just eat lunch. At this point, man.
That's a good point. Hey, because to that point, the first two coaches that ever the first coach to come see me at a school at Westlake was Stacy Powellmore.
Yeah.
I got you.
First coach to ever email my pops. He got a copy of he showed it to me like within the last year. Was Philip Pearson. You know, them were the first two coaches to ever recruit me. Definitely at the high major level.
Right.
He asked me, did I know you?
That's what I'm saying. And part of me even
made
going.
It all make sense.
Right.
Like,
so relationships. And part of me going to Georgia, like part of it was that, like, man, I'm not going if we're not gonna be good.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all can recruit or not.
Yeah.
If we're not gonna be good, I'm not coming. So him coming was crucial. I was not gonna go if you didn't come. We had talked around that time, and I felt good that you were gonna come because you came around the same time because I signed extremely late, like May, my senior year. So it was around that same time you verbally committed.
Yeah.
So it was like, man, if you ain't going, I don't know if I'm gonna go.
Like I took my when I took my official visit, like that's signed the deal. Man.
Yeah. Nah, same for me too.
That
same
was
for
like,
me.
Oof.
Yeah.
Was I even there for yours?
No, yes you were.
Yeah, we had, but like what?
We had a time.
Right
on him, because all three of them visited at the same time.
Me,
Him, Charles, and Brandon. We had a time. You know what I'm talking about?
It was crazy.
We had a good time. That was one of the best official visits we ever hosted.
Yeah. Nah, so
because like you was the host.
Yeah. You know I host everybody. And Brandon committed on the visit.
Oh yeah. I had committed before.
He committed on Sunday.
Man, like,
you and Charles were already committed. You were committed a couple weeks before.
You know what? Because of the unofficials.
Right. Like, in which you were coming on plenty. But that official visit was what we had this time.
That was my mistake.
Yeah.
I took one official and none unofficial.
Yeah.
Well, Florida State was the unofficial. That's what I'm saying.
I got you.
My official visit, I only took one that was to Georgia.
Yeah. No, same. And I was like, I wanted to take my other. She was like, nah, it's gonna make you look bad.
But I should have just like, but it's like you able to take them. I should have did it like to a school. Like, all right, I don't think I'm gonna go to.
Yeah, just
visit. You know what I'm saying? Just see. Like, I might just not. I'm not giving them a chance. You know what I'm saying? Let's just see.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It might have made a difference. Who knows?
My head.
I was locked in already at Georgia.
Tight.
But it was another reason.
Yeah, nah, definitely.
We won't divulge.
We can get into it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was just the really reason was my official visit.
Mm-hmm.
The reason like I kind of like committed a little early. And I found a girlfriend.
Met a girl.
Met a girl.
I met a girl.
You know what I'm saying?
And
back then, I mean, I still the same way,
Yeah.
but I love hard, man.
Yeah.
I fail.
Yeah.
Tripped and fell right
Ain't
into
nothing
hard.
wrong with that.
Hey, man, we
I
all
mean,
do
you know.
I
Ain't nothing
for
wrong
me,
with
I'm back in high school. I thought I was a big man on campus in high school, man. I had, you know what I'm saying, college girlfriend already.
So you were grown
You know
before you were
what I'm
grown.
saying? Right. You know, so me, I was just chilling in high school. I ain't, you know, I'm talking to her all the day in class.
Yeah.
We all remember
it was
that.
that man heavy. Yeah. Nah,
We all had similar scenarios.
Man, like,
nah, so going back to how you were talking about at Clemson, they were trying to they were talking to you about Kentavious. So full circle moment. Now you're at Georgia.
yeah, man,
Kentavious comes to Georgia.
Call me Kenny, man, or KCP. No, I'm just bullshit.
Ken.
It's just Kentavious is so formal right now.
It is. You my bad. I said the bros.
Overly professional.
I be
It is Dawg Talk.
Yeah, I be in a lot of business meetings, so sometimes it kick in. But
You good.
but yeah, like I said, full circle moment. You and Ken end up being on the same squad, and you playing with another McDonald All-American. So this is the second time you get a chance to do this with us. A lot of people can't, you know what I'm saying, say that. How was that experience being kind of like a big brother mentor since you had already been there a year before, and y'all had already had a relationship?
Let me just kind of answer that.
You go ahead and take this one, Slime.
That's all he was. I wish I had the opportunity to play with him.
Yeah.
I think I had like maybe 1 or 2 games.
Yeah.
We had a few games here and there. But it was the diet version.
Yeah.
You remember? Don't act like you forgot the diet version.
We're going to get to that too.
Yeah,
we want to know how.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's fucking 85 degrees in Athens, Georgia. And I see this man with, now we're going to get to that. You know what I'm saying? But I wish I had the opportunity to play with him. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew, you know what I'm saying, the dynamic we would have had. And I feel like that's all we was missing.
Yeah.
And we practiced, but we used to have to match up in practice.
Yeah.
But we practiced against each other hard as fuck. That first year, when you were a freshman and I was a sophomore, we used to practice. And, play pickup, we had to guard each other. And that, bro, we got a lot sharper. Now, I feel like I helped him more than he helped me.
Yeah.
I couldn't do nothing anyway.
Yeah.
But I feel like I helped giving him at least the physicality,
my first
size.
year, bro, I ain't play.
Yeah.
I barely play. You know, when you get 2 fouls.
He fouled out of every first half.
I think that's a Ken. Anybody whose name start with KEN and then it has something else after.
Oh, that was you too?
Yeah, that was me too.
Point of attack.
Yeah, it's a KEN.
Right,
Kenny.
Yeah.
Point of attack. Point of attack.
I'm sitting on the bench. I'm like, dang, I can't guard nobody. Like, shit.
It was tough out on the islands back then.
Yeah. Now, SEC always been tough. So I can imagine the reason why, I know, but for the people who don't know, so the reason why you and Ken didn't get a chance to play, was it because of injuries?
Yeah, injuries.
I got you. So what injury was it that kept you out at that point in time?
So knees, and I had injuries all the way throughout.
Yeah.
From the last game of high school all the way through the day I retired. Shit, now they know I'm calling out injury right now.
No, we ain't even
got rehab in the morning.
I thought you was the coach.
Man, y'all know what's going on. So, you just got to wear it. And at that point in time, it was the knees. I had the knee, and that was when it was first really getting zapped.
Yeah.
I think when I was a freshman, and I didn't play a lot as a freshman either. That's whatever. Sometimes that's just how it goes. Mm-hmm. But when I was a freshman, I still had it. I still, had a little athleticism. Mm-hmm. It's arguable.
Yeah.
I was up there with Trav,
Very arguable.
Right.
I was Brian before.
You know what I'm saying?
He was from
It wasn't the high school, but I still had it. I still had the numbers to back it up.
Right.
That summer between, it was gone. I remember one time they threw me like a lob. Something happened. They threw something up. Coach Fox, he sat me down next to him. He was like, man, I really feel bad for you.
Damn.
I said, you too. I like tipped it in. Like wrong way and all. You know what I'm saying?
What are them?
One of the ones you threw back in the day, I'm in the rim.
Yeah, I remember that.
Inside the rim.
You elbow everything.
You remember how you sit on the rim back then?
That's what I was saying, man. That was like,
Man, they threw me one off the three. You know, you do a little flex cup, but you go behind.
Yeah.
Throw you a little lob over the top. I might have barely got my fingertips up there. I was like, man, I'm really, really sorry, brother. He sat me down real professional. Man, I just
Did
really
you think
hate
it was
to
somewhat
see.
over at that point? Like,
No, because I had my dreams and ambitions. I knew what I was. But
man.
yes, of course I did. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is this? I used to dream of like the lengths, the things I used to be researching on Google to try to internet doctor myself. Like, how do I fix this? Like, how do I get my athleticism back?
That's why I think like back then, like what we know now.
mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We didn't know back then. I feel like if we had known back then, or your ass would have gotten cold tub.
We would have had a lot.
I remember this. I'm gonna get to the story. Right? Come on. You know, for every day before the game, we gotta get in cold tub. So I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? So everybody in the cold tub, he about to get in there, but he like timid. You know what I'm saying? They forcing it on him.
Yeah.
Man, he getting that motherfucker. He sit for like 30 seconds, man, and start like shaking. I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Man, he come out hives everywhere. Man told me he allergic to the cold. I was like, what? First, I swear, first time he was like, I can't cold talk. He said, I die. I was like, he said I seized up and died. I was like, oh Lord.
So this is like a
This
real
It's a
thing.
medical condition.
It was
It's so
what?
funny, dog.
It was like, but like even when he iced, man, knees red.
Like, big puffs.
Big puffs. I'm like, you ain't getting no treatment.
Yeah, like you that's why you gonna be hurt.
So what it was
That's why I was,
back then. So I found out. At some point, I wasn't born that way. At some point, I just
developed
started. My skin just. Bro, I swear, one day I got hurt at like a little camp. They put some ice on my back. They put some ice on my back. I broke out so bad. This is why I was still a little. I might have been like 12, 13.
Yeah.
oh,
It was like, man, it just came out of nowhere. So
Maybe
I'm
the
just
ice was
allergic
dirty.
to cold stimulus. There's a word for it. I can't think of.
funny
But so I used to not get in the ice till eventually
Couldn't do
you
that.
build up, just like anything else, you build up a tolerance.
Yeah.
And you able to. So now I can get in the ice tub. You know what I'm
I
saying?
know, but like, but
Back then, I wasn't getting in the ice
wasn't
tub.
happening.
I can't. I mean, it's funny now, but like my son Kenzo, like he's the same way.
He got the same thing?
Got the same.
I ain't even
thing.
know that.
What?
Same thing.
Yeah. Is it
Cause
just
like,
the external
like,
or is it?
I don't know
It's
what
external.
it is.
It's not
So
like you
when
drink something
I
cold.
was about to say,
how we
so
found
y'all go
out-
no ice in the
we
drink.
found out we were living in DC and it was snowing.
Mm.
You know, my kids like to play in the snow, so we sent them out.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Kenzo come back, everything puffy. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
He just went outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Find out he allergic to the
Get
cold.
on you. Hands,
Like,
but your
What is it?
skin
What is
get
it?
tight.
What is it called?
It's
all-
called like cold
no.
Uterica, something
Yeah,
like that.
he
Something
allergic to
start with a U.
cold, all trees, like
I'm just like that too.
fuck grass.
The grass. If I
All
was to
type of,
dive on the
like,
grass, no shirt, I break
like-
out my whole torso. Yeah.
Like sometimes, like it's hard for him to go outside because
Yeah.
like
The elements.
he coming back in. Or like when he do, we give him some little Benadryl. It ain't bad. I'm saying give him a little Benadryl. He go out there.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
good. But like allergic to shellfish and nuts is like severe. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But like,
Sheesh.
he like with
Them
Kenzo,
allergies.
man, he's so smart. He we don't never gotta worry about him. Like he gonna let us know,
Yeah.
Mama, they got peanuts in it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or like
Like,
I can't
hold
do
on.
that.
Did you see that?
Or I can't eat the
peanut
shrimp. You know what I'm saying? But I eat like, you know what I'm saying? He likes seafood, but like,
Yeah.
you know, he stay away from all that.
Okay. I got you.
Very, very smart young man. He's very cautious.
Yeah. Nah, that's good because some kids just be oblivious.
That one right there.
Wow.
It was on my ass.
It was. 'Cause
Y'all remember when I went to, man, you remember? You don't remember.
Like you just get down and like try to sit
Yeah.
down real quick. Like,
Should have started tweaking.
Man, you remember when I went to go train with I did like some Navy SEALs training.
you know, we know Billy had you and all
Man,
that type
I
of
went-
shit.
It was dirty.
Nah,
It was like
real.
this was like Maymester,
Artificial
the first
intelligence
session.
training.
I forget. No, because he had.
I was
got
gone. The whole team was there. I was
But
gone.
he had got trouble about something.
Some
and
long
Billy sent
story.
him to the military.
The long story short,
yeah.
I'm out here, boy. They got me in the Pacific Ocean, boy. Pacific Ocean ain't warm.
Nah.
Hey, you know he got the good.
And they don't care. This is again. I already said it. Navy SEAL
Sarge, I can't
training.
do that. I can't
I
get
had
in there.
to, man.
Your man's off, son.
Nah,
Listen, so that's what started that summer, and then it ended up
I was
with
about to
me
say
not
Billy was
being
the drill
available.
sergeant because that's how he came back hurt.
Yeah.
No, because he couldn't move.
They froze him.
He couldn't move. I'm like, you know, he already like swole, but he
I
was
was
locked
swole.
up.
I came back super swole.
He
Yeah.
came back small. I was like,
Yeah.
damn.
It was a journey.
Yeah. So talk about the mental journey to get through that, because sustaining injuries over a period of time, that's tough, bro. Especially when you
Just a
are
bit.
It was a
promising
lot.
athlete
It was a
like
lot, though. I give a lot of credit, though, to obviously like why we here today, the brotherhood,
Yeah.
the Dawg Talk. That had a lot to do with it. I remember literally between his freshman and my sophomore year, and starting like and not being available, having surgery and all that, I had like two, and then y'all coming, like my renewal and energy with y'all, because y'all were just so, you in particular, just so youthfully spirited.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and
Ain't
you
nothing
were,
about it.
you were,
you was always
Man,
jockey
you
for
would
some
never,
reason.
you were never tired.
What's
bro.
going on?
Him and him, these two right here, I never seen them tired one day on this earth.
It's
okay.
Never get tired.
Energy. You know
You know what I'm saying?
Hell no, man.
He's never, he don't know what tired is.
Don't.
Him right here.
Yeah,
he
I
don't know
got
what
tired
that is.
eventually. He still ain't got tired.
He's never gotten tired before. He was like that, you know, times a million at that time. So when y'all came, that gave me a lot of, you know, endurance to be able to continue to get through it. Because it was probably the entirety of your 2 years there that I was pretty much unavailable. I was injured.
I was like, y'all
Sitting
probably got
out.
a chance to play with each
Yeah,
other.
me and Mark played.
Yeah, we played
Like
big games together.
3
Won,
years, I feel
you know,
like.
went to the tournament, did the whole nine. But we never got to do any of that stuff together. Yeah.
Nah,
And the 2 years I was
wanna make
the
the
2 years
tournament.
I was healthy, we went.
Let me
to the
tell
tournament
y'all,
in
now,
IT.
they said I was the problem. They want to make the tournament 2 years. Why I went there?
You just had to stay one more year. You just
That's
I needed
all.
to be
You
healthy.
left too
It's
early.
really, it was just me being healthy. It's hard down there, you know.
like you said, he was that missing piece that y'all
It
had needed.
was,
That's
but
the reason why.
It was hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I got drafted 2013.
You had to go.
I won SEC Player of the
Yeah,
Year.
you had to go.
Yeah,
There was
you
no
was
excuse.
I was hot.
They would have
had to
had
go.
to knowingly give you at least $1 million to come back.
But like, mind you, Fox brought me in the office. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, you know, it ain't the NIL shit they getting now. But
Right.
like, I had an insurance policy for $4 million. You know what I'm saying? Like, you had to sign if I came back to school. You know what I'm saying? If I got injured, boom. But, you know,
Yeah, it wasn't worth the risk.
consulting with a lot of people, you know,
Yeah.
and
I would
From
look
where I
and
came
say,
from,
I remember
Bro,
talking
go.
to you every single day at the time, telling you, boy, you better take your ass on.
No,
What did
yeah.
you hear
For
today?
real,
What
for
they
real.
what they say? Okay,
he was
Yeah.
always
Go.
with me.
go.
Before I got
Go.
drafted, he was my dog. Come
on, man.
You gotta go.
I was trying to learn the rope. I'm like, I'm the next one out of here.
Yeah.
I was
like, bro,
I was
you
still
gotta
in
go.
Athens.
Yeah. Nah, no cap.
I was like, boy, they say you gotta go to LA. You need to go.
Nah, for real.
Yeah.
But it was hard though.
They
Cause
say you get drafted where?
I wanted to stay.
I already
Yeah.
know. I know
But
you.
I
wanted to
knew, like, you know what I'm saying, and, like, you know what I'm saying, that net class that was coming up, I didn't know.
stay. That was.
And like I said at the time, where I came from, shit.
Yeah.
You
I ain't
made-
gonna
it
it was
was
a no-brainer.
Yeah,
It was my
strike
dream
while the
too, though.
iron hot.
Yeah,
You gotta
it was
do
a
that. You had to
no-brainer.
maximize your value at the
Yeah.
time. And you did.
And
You
it would have
know
been
what
like,
I'm saying?
it would have been like, what more could you have done the next year? Like, you were SEC player of the
some
year.
point-
Only thing would have been
Made
next would have been
tournament.
making the tournament.
Yeah.
And then I would have won SEC Player of the Year again.
Yeah, at some
mean,
point,
yeah.
though.
So
Yeah.
having
true.
two of that, then you know, me going 8, staying another year, I could have went, you know what I'm saying, top 5.
Okay.
But I'm still top 10.
I like top 10.
I'm
without-
top
with top 10, no
10s.
risk.
I was top 10 pick with 4 workouts. I had 14 lined up for my pre-draft.
Mm.
I did Minnesota twice, Cleveland, and Portland.
So, no Detroit.
No, I had just 2 meetings with Detroit.
Mm.
So my 5th workout is Atlanta, and they really wanted me.
Yeah.
I remember
So
that. At the time.
I'm in Atlanta.
It's like,
I'm
Right
right
down the street.
I'm here already. I wake up, you know, so I'm finna get ready to go to the workout.
yeah.
My agent called me. You can be done or not. You know what I'm saying? Minnesota said they're gonna pick you at number 7. I mean number 9. It was number 9.
Yeah.
I was like, I ain't gotta do no more workouts.
Yeah.
I was like, shit, I'm done. I'm finna go home.
Yeah.
I'm already
yeah,
home.
I'm kicking it there. What you
But
mean?
like that made like I should have just worked out for Atlanta.
I got
Because
you.
like I did leave like a bad, you know what I'm saying,
I got
the
you.
taste in their mouth at the time because they were blowing me up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, why you don't want to work out? Blah blah blah. I'm like, man, my agent said I ain't got
Yeah,
to.
my
Like,
so
shit.
situated. So,
I ain't want to say, you know what I'm saying, Minnesota was picking me at the time.
yeah.
So I mean, I still have a relationship with him. You know, I kind of like rebuilt it, but yeah, I left and went home.
Yeah,
no more workouts.
Well, my work is done here, fellas.
Right, but surprise, you know, Detroit snatched me up.
Yeah.
Like
Was Minnesota tight? Because I know they planned to pick you and was like, hold on.
At the time, Flip Saunders, you know what I'm saying, rest in peace, you know what I'm saying. Like, he was like a good coach to me, a good mentor, you know what I'm saying. And that's how I ended up getting picked. Like, well, Minnesota wanted to pick me. Yeah. Like, I had a workout at the gym, you know what I'm saying. And my second workout, which is crazy, at his crib.
Personal.
Got Flip crib.
At Flip crib.
That's tough.
You know what I'm saying? That's how I met his son, Ryan Saunders. You know what I'm saying? And he had an opportunity to coach me in Denver. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
That's tough.
And that's how I had the relationship, you know what I'm saying, with Minnesota. But it was like the house is crazy. Yeah. Gym in the basement, it was fucking ridiculous. I'm in there going like, I don't think I missed a shot. Yeah. Like, that's why I said, like, that's why, like. It
was like, nah, this makes sense.
After that second workout, it was a done deal. He was like, man, we love you. We're going to pick you at number 9. Yeah. And I think I had my last meeting with Detroit after Minnesota. And then they just snatched me up.
I know they were mad. What? All set.
I would have been.
Somebody you ain't even work out with, snatch them up right before.
Like, you know I was about to take time. What we got going?
You just doing this made me mad.
Like, man, you still, like, right now, you get drafted out the potential. You know what I'm saying? Back then, you know, Detroit, their GM was Joe Dumars. You know what I'm saying? You talking about a defender. You know what I'm saying? Guy that, you know what I'm saying, was scrappy.
Yeah, he truly valued that part of the game.
I feel like he saw that in me.
He valued your skill set.
Yeah. Like, and that was just off, like, him just watching highlights, I guess, because I didn't work out for him. Yeah. I didn't get a chance to see it.
He just had that eye. No.
When you had it, you got it, man.
When you got that's why he in the front office. That's
right. He's doing a big thing. Shout out Joe Dumars, man.
Shout out
me the opportunity.
So all of us have kids. I started the latest.
It's me. Y'all have a child.
Well, we all have childrens.
Right.
A children.
I got kids.
yeah. Ken got kids.
Kids.
Mark, when did in what year did you have your son?
So my son was born right before I went to play overseas. So this would have been right after I left Georgia.
Okay.
15.
2015. So when, like, going through that process of early fatherhood before he actually came out, because we know you were still in school. Yeah. How was kind of like your thought process? Because we know you were, dealing with that, then dealing with the transition going from college to the NBA potentially to overseas, whatever, whatever your opportunity looked like.
And also dealing with, you know what I'm saying, you just having your son. Yeah. And being there, you got to leave right away.
It was challenging. It took, preparation. So obviously, y'all knew how I grew up. So I knew, for one, it was no negotiation, on how present I was going to be. Yeah. So that was the first thing. My first
Billy
crux
to
even
that shit anyway.
Right. And so that was the first.
He was all about stepdad. He didn't even know it.
He didn't even know it.
Right. And that go without saying. Again, everybody know how I am. I'm probably the most fatherly figure within our friend group. Naturally. This was even before. Yeah. Way before you were born. I was already natured in this way. Right. So you find out you're having a child, earlier than you would plan to, right, expect it. And even if you find out you're having a boy. Yeah. And I think anybody, if you're that age, that time period, the idea of having your own, having a child, your own DNA, actually live out here in the world, it's inspirational enough. Yeah. So that was, I found that was a blessing. But at the same time, I knew that, like, man, I don't know anything else, but, a dad being in his sunlight day to day. You know what I'm saying? In my own life, I had also my uncle, rest in peace. He also was a single father who was in his, really the central, focal point as a parent in his son's life. So I had all these influences on how I was supposed to do it. So that was tough. Yeah. So I had to prepare. I knew I had to make sure I had all my, my affairs in order. If I was going to be playing basketball away from him, I knew I had to have my situation, needed to be healthy and secure, and I needed to handle my business, whatever that meant. You know what I mean? Yeah. In all fronts, and couldn't afford to skip no steps. Yeah. so it just so happened that, you know, and the way it was aligned for me, and now I fully understand this because I'm a grown man and I'm many years separated. But even at the time, I was still extremely, you know, ambitious. I was trying to get to the NBA.
Right.
Hella high water.
Right,
I felt
right.
I had a lot of people I wanted to try to prove wrong. You know, that's just your dream.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
I would have loved to see it, brother.
the thing is,
You know what I'm
at the time, I think you know, because you saw me play a little bit at the time. At the time, I was by far the best I've ever been. Like, indescribably better than anybody had ever seen me play at any point in time prior before. I had all the moves. I had the change of speed. I had finally figured out how to play. And it was no longer like, all right, we're playing, you know, at Georgia, we're playing a system. We run set plays every play. We play half court.
You're rediscovering
I
yourself.
rediscovered like how to play.
Yeah.
While I put in the skill, I started to really get my jumper together. So at the time when I'm playing, when I went and played overseas, like I would wow.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I remember going over there. My coach was the first Italian to score in the NBA. I can't remember his full name. We'll have to look it up and fact check.
Mr. Ferrari.
His name was Vincenzo. It's something like that. We called him Enzo. Anyway,
Ferrari,
I just
Enzo.
remember
See, I wasn't too far off.
you really was on it.
Putting you down.
But in the real, he just would tell me at the time, like, man, you could have a chance to be special. You know what I'm saying? And at the time, that was the most disappointing part. It was like, man, I'm getting as good as I've ever gotten. And I knew in the back of my mind, you know, I would, you know, when you have intuition that like, man, my window's closing, this is coming to an end. Because I had injuries, I had pain, and you can't stop.
Yeah.
Now you're at the point where there's no breaks.
Yeah.
And the kind of injuries I had, what I really needed wasn't no other surgery. I needed time off.
I got you.
I needed to take, if I knew better, if I had the foresight, I'd have taken like a year off, not played, done nothing. Just straight worked on my body. Maybe like, freshman year. That would have been the year I took off. That would have gotten me back to where I was.
I got you.
And so at the time, I knew. Like, I could feel my body. I could feel like the pain.
I remember we used to have conversations about it too.
I was at the end of the rope.
I was about to say T.O. wasn't doing that much anyway.
Yeah.
So I was
in that tape ankles by then.
Right.
Man. We had Kobe. We had Kobe after that. They got him in and out. They were like, yeah. Oh, I see the tape through the sock. How you do that?
Damn.
Man, that's a whole nother.
Damn.
We ain't even gonna get. But I say all that to say, that point in time, I knew it was like I was running out the wrong way.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where it was an opportunity for me. The game was kind of leaving because of my physical injuries, but I have this young child that needs me. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to immediately step full time into that. Like the day I was done, as opposed to like taking a lot of time to try to like, all right, am I still gonna play? Am I still not? I knew like the last injury I got, it was like the very first injury I got.
Yeah.
It was in warm-ups of a game.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, if I'm getting that kind of sign, I was supposed to be doing something else.
Yeah.
This is a sign. This isn't just, it just happened.
Yeah, it don't just continuously happen like that. Like this is a sign for me to,
so the last injury I had was in warm-ups of a game. It was another knee where I was gonna have surgery, and I was just, that's it. That was the 5th or 6th one.
Yeah.
And I was, this is it. You know what I'm saying? At the time, he was on like a year old. He had maybe just turned 1. And so that's what did it for me.
I got you.
Yeah.
Dang. So once you realized like basketball was no longer your purpose, what led you to kind of shift into the space of doing commercial real estate and being really good at it?
Yeah. So they're just
Says his accountant. You know what I'm saying?
He still ain't found my building I'm looking for.
Oh,
man.
well.
I'm just
don't trust this guy.
Nah,
the options in the inbox.
I was about to say, well, he be, man, I had to tell him to slow down, bro. I can't look, he was sending me so much.
He's sending lot after lot.
Man,
trying to plot after plot.
Okay. Nah, he's doing his thing.
Man, so just, when you go through, you always are getting coached up to have your plan B. We're going to school. So my major in school was real estate. So I always knew I was going to get in commercial real estate. I had no clue what that meant at the time. That was just, my understanding of it when I was going through college was that this is where they make the most money, which that's simple.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it, make the money.
I'm gonna work with real estate, and that is the way I got into real estate was the people. It was the dean of the real estate school at Georgia.
Yeah.
He took a personal interest in me. He was the only teacher I ever had that took a personal interest in me at Georgia. Yeah, and I was a student. I was for real student. I wasn't like
you got your master's,
right? I wasn't, and I was a serious student. I was business school. There was only one other person that looked like me that was in business school. You know what I'm saying? That was an athlete. So. And so I ended up there, and that's what kind of led me to thinking, all right, I'm going to get in commercial real estate the day that I got finished playing.
Yeah.
And so I met the right people, and that's how I got into it. I've been to it almost 8 years now.
Yeah.
Doing that, and that's been my main kind of 9 to 5, so to speak, my day job.
Yeah.
Just building relationships. It's a relationship.
Nice day job, man.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
Walk
it
around,
takes
look
time.
at nice buildings.
It's the
out
long
there,
run.
trying to
Really,
sell them.
it is not a flash in the pan type. It takes time and it
Yeah.
takes patience and precision.
Yeah.
Still on that climb up.
Most definitely. Well, this is just a plug. If you need some commercial real estate,
Hey man, come find me, man.
that's for
Not
you,
hard
Jess.
to find.
Because I know you like it when I make up
man.
words. So if you
Put
need
it
some
simple.
commercial real estate, holla at
Put
me.
it simply, I help
What
companies.
that word was again?
Real estate.
Real estate. To put it simply, what real estate is per kg, I help companies solve real estate problems. Just to put it simple, don't think too much more than that. If you occupy space or land, I help solve problems.
Simple as that.
There you go.
One call, that's all. Marcus Thornton, baby.
Bro.
So since you got into commercial real estate, what's the biggest deal that you've done thus far? Or that you've been a part of?
The biggest thing I've been a part of, just some large. So the main thing I work with is office space. So if you go and you see a large corporation with their name on top of a building, that's because they occupy a lot of space, office space within that building.
Got you.
So
it's not necessarily their building.
It's not their building. 9 times, almost dang near 10 times out of 10 is not their building. There's some that's going to be their building, but 8, 9 times out of 10 it's not their building. They're leasing that building, whether it be for 10 years, it's going to be at least that if they got their name on it. 20 years, 30 years. If you see a Chick-fil-A on the corner, sometimes they don't own those locations. They lease it, but they get a developer to come build the building spec, which means for their operation. You know what I'm saying? Get a little nerdy on y'all.
No, we love that though. We love that because it's next level. Heck yeah.
I'm working with the people that are occupying, the person that would be signing a Chick-fil-A, which would be retail, or something like that. We'll be working with them to secure the space and negotiate that transaction within that building. So the largest one I've worked on, just for the sake of a comparable, has been something like that.
Okay.
Where they lease enough space in that building.
Okay.
To have their name up on it.
I got you.
That's probably the largest type of transaction I've worked on. So, but I do everything from stuff like that to helping people acquire land to do things that they want to do, like stuff that we've all talked about before. Some industrial stuff with warehouses where people need to have that space for everything from logistics to manufacturing. So everything in between. Work on all that kind of stuff.
No, that's big business, and it's not a lot of us that I know of that are in that space. So it's
and there's a reason for that too.
I know it's super competitive.
Commercial real estate, but I do a little real estate.
I can sell a couple rooms. I can sell an office building.
But the reason that you don't know, the reason why we don't know a lot of people is because it's a gate kept.
Yes, it is.
People, them opportunities to invest and do stuff. Those are people that spend time with their people doing and working on that stuff.
Got you.
Those type of opportunities aren't ones that are made, aware to the public. You got to know people. It's all about relationships.
They do,
You know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
They say it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Who
right?
you know.
No,
It's
facts.
100% who you know. You can do this it's all about people you know.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with how much you know or what exactly you know. You can learn that on the go.
Yeah. I got you. And this is just a personal question that I want to know. So like going back to the Chick-fil-A example, if Chick-fil-A leases a lot and they put a building on it for 10 years and then they vacate it after that 10 years, what happens to the building? Because do they just pack it up and take it with them? Do they leave it? Do they sell it? Like how does that really work?
That will be what you call a ground lease.
Okay.
So they're leasing basically the ground. Now they may use somebody to build because they don't own it. So they're not going. Like you said, they can't pick up the building and take it.
Yeah.
But because it's a ground lease, it ain't gonna be 10 years. It's gonna be 30.
Okay.
Might be 99. Just depending on kind of things. It'll be, depending on if it's a skyscraper. You might see a skyscraper sitting down, and the building might be owned by this person, but this person over here owns the land. So that's gonna be that's gonna be a 99-year lease, and at some point in time, in 99 years, or whatever, they'll have to figure out if it's worth keeping. But at that point in time, it'll change hands. Yeah. Somebody else has bought it. Somebody sold it because it was bad debt or whatever.
Yeah,
a lot of things just happen. But these assets you own, you know, they're strategically positioning them, packaging them, and doing certain things. Some things are value add. Some things you're holding and you're sheltering you know, money and doing
Right.
all this.
So
So
it's
it could be a lot of different things at different levels.
Just to have the land, right?
Right.
So
If you have land, you got the opportunity. That's when you have opportunity to make a big, huge, quick jump, and like have a big moment of making a lot of money.
Yeah.
When you own some land and somebody that comes along
and develops
wants to
on
do
that
something and
land.
develops on
So
that.
as
land.
the land owner,
99 years, I can't wait.
yeah.
Exactly.
That's
So
the
as-
contract, man.
Now, I'm
as the
printing money.
land-
I'm printing
yeah.
money for 99 years. Exactly.
What
That's
you talking
exactly
about?
what you want to do.
So as the land owner, what like say so do they kind of have in the type of establishment that can be put on the land, and then as far as because they don't own the land, do they have some type of say so in the building ownership as well? Like what
You're saying from the perspective of who?
of the landowner? It's like I own the land, you put your building on here. All right, bet just for the sake of example, it's 10 years, lease is up. Y'all don't want to renegotiate or bring it back around and do it again. Now what does the
It's their prerogative.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And that, you come to an agreement. And that agreement is written, it's a contract.
Yeah.
So it is what it is for that amount of time.
Gotcha.
You might renegotiate and not be able to, figure it out from there.
Yeah.
It also have a lot to do with the municipality. They gotta, you gotta be able to have a permit. You know, your zoning has to
For sure.
be able to accommodate this use. So
Gotcha.
if you can't get it rezoned
Yeah.
for what you need, we not having discussion. We talked about stuff in the past. It would be nice to do this here, but they'll
Yeah.
never zone. They'll never
For
allow
that.
you to have that zoning. So
Yeah.
you can do that. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So
I
what's
think that's
the
like
use?
the biggest thing, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
when it comes to like owning land and like trying to build something on it, like that's zoning shit, man. So,
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, have you had any frustrations with? Because I know you got, your huge lot of land. Have you had any frustrations with zoning or trying to have ideas that?
I'm in the country, man. We don't worry about zoning.
Different world.
Because you know,
It's
okay,
different
okay,
world.
okay.
And for
Yeah,
sure,
yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. It's pockets.
I'm out in the woods. You ain't gotta worry about no zoning. I gotta worry about just fucking hitting the creek
Putting
and
it
stuff.
down.
Yeah.
But the difference between
hitting a power line.
yeah,
That's all I need to worry about.
Okay,
but the difference between having an issue with zoning,
No.
it's your, you know what I'm saying?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have
Versus having it like somewhere up here,
Right.
it's the difference between maybe having to talk to two people and
having
having
to
to
talk to
convince
100.
two people versus
Yeah.
having to convince like 50 people.
I
You know
got
what I'm
you.
saying?
I got you.
And,
That's the
and,
difference.
like on my land, is basically like that's if I can get investors, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or like
Right.
someone to like build on the land,
mm-hmm.
you know. But most of the stuff I'm gonna do it out of my pocket. So I'm gonna just keep it.
Yeah, keep it in house to where it's not a lot.
But
of
it's just me I bought the 79 acres to just rebuild the city a little bit, you
Gotcha.
know, because it's only one way in Greenville, you know,
Man, when we at?
and one way out.
Shotgun
You know what I'm saying?
neighborhood.
As you enter, like that's where my land starts.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So and it pushed all the way back 79 acres to like another main highway. You know what I'm saying? To get to when they say Woodbury, Georgia, like going to like that way.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to open it up. You know what I'm saying? And then thinking about food truck parks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what are some of the things that you want to put on there? Because these folks don't know. They know you got land, but they're like, we don't know what KCP doing with it. Like, what you
It's
want to
right
do?
now, it's just sitting. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm still like active playing. You know, and it's hard for me to get down there and just to see.
Yeah.
But I've cleaned off 3 acres.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and opened it up. You know, it's just like open space now. But I've thought about just putting like a rec center back down there.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of stuff I grew up with, rec center. You know, try to get another Boys and Girl Club. I even tried to buy where my court is. Y'all know where I built my court.
Yeah.
The school that's right there.
Yeah.
I even tried to buy the school
Because that's a good.
but the government have it, and it's hard because it's government funded.
See, I thought it was the country and there were no rules though. So
But
go to the principal like, hey man, here's a bag. Get out.
But because it's a school, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So the government owns the school,
I got you.
and they still funding it. But it's a daycare. You know what I'm saying? They're like,
okay.
you know, it's not really a daycare, but like people drop the kids off, you know. And I wanted to buy the school, rebuild it,
Yeah,
because I wanted to put the Boys and Girl Club back there because that's what it was when I was there.
I got you.
And then I got a whole nother fucking almost 5 acres behind the school that's just empty.
Yeah.
And I had, when I grown, I had baseball field back there, like a big ass playground area. So I wanted to redo all that for that because I put my court right there.
Right.
And I think it would look nice, you know, like just to
Heck
build
yeah.
like that area. And I got so many ideas. I gonna do that for the school, and like give it to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Like gift it to them.
Yeah,
I'm just rehabbing it.
Like I gift my court. I gift my court to the city of Greenville. So it's there. It's not mine. It just have my name on it.
I got you.
You know, but yeah, I wanted to rebuild the school. You know, I already did the court. I wanted to buy like fucking most of the houses around my court in the school and rebuild them so that like that area would look nice around there.
Yeah.
And then, like just I got a whole bunch of ideas. You know, and if you want to invest with me, you want to like help me out, like please, you know what I'm saying? I think we can revamp the city of Greenville for sure.
Most definitely.
You know.
Because
you get major traffic, you know what I'm saying? I still get you get trucks going through.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I thought about putting a truck stop,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying, right there.
Yeah.
I thought about a whole type of shit. You know, like, and they always, each year I come up with new ideas. You know what I'm saying? That would push my timetable back as far as like doing stuff.
Yeah.
It's so much I think about.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's like when you
it's hard
start activating, you want to make sure, all right, my first venture is going to be the one that...
I tell everybody, man, I'm going to be the first mayor / NBA player active.
Yeah.
Yeah, Greenville. For sure.
Come on. So to the mayor, said no, he coming for your spot. So pack your bags.
Public service announcement. Hello.
I think we can do some good in Greenville. Like whoever the mayor, I don't know. You know, they just reelected a new one. So whoever it may be, I'm willing to work with you if you're willing to work with me, and we can do a lot.
Yeah. Look, that's the plug for y'all right there. Okay, so know that you're working with somebody who has a heart for the city. Most folks that try to come into towns, they
born and raised, man.
You know what I'm saying? They look at it as a lucrative investment to try to do a whole bunch of stuff, but there's somebody who really cares about the people of the town and trying to really, you know what I'm saying, like self-gentrify. So whoever got some money out there that's looking for a good opportunity and some space.
We need a lot because they...
Come on, man.
Let's do it. They took away our grocery store. We ain't got a grocery store no more.
Yeah.
We barely got places to go eat.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a lot, man. Like the stuff that I can do.
Yeah.
I think it'll be nice, man.
I think me knowing you, I know you're gonna make it happen. It's just a timing thing. So
yeah, that's all.
I get it.
But I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it.
Yeah, sure.
So back to our guest. You know, we running low on time. I know we about to get up out of here. We got 5 minuto. Appreciate you, Jess. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Marcus Thornton.
Having my way.
32.
Simple as that.
I can say a whole lot behind that, but have my way. It's a couple things that, you know, I'm passionate about, purposeful about. So obviously continue to grow, you know, from a career standpoint. We all, you know, respectively, we got our certain ventures that we have with basketball. His is his primary career. You with the prep school, the academy, and all the things you're doing there. I have my youth basketball organization. We do other sports. We got some other stuff going on too, but that's the main tool we use is basketball, and it's called Next Play University. But so that growing that to a certain scale where we can truly make an impact. That's on the south side of Atlanta, and that part of town has been really, really special to me.
Yeah.
My upbringing, I'm really privileged. You know, I get to literally walk around on most days and function. You know, like, you know, people who will be with me and they don't know any better would think that I might, you know, be a celebrity. And then a lot of that is just familiarity and people have seen me that can identify me with my past and some of the accolades.
Yeah.
And just obviously being tall, good looking.
You play basketball?
Handsome. I'm just saying. That's what they tell me. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? I just, you know.
What they be saying?
I'm not going to tell you.
They
tell me good stuff.
And yellow.
They just tell me good stuff. But nah.
Don't get into it. I do.
They tell me good stuff. They tell me good stuff. And that's why I really, really do feel indebted to my community and trying to do as much as I can to give back. So and a lot of that will be in that. Who knows beyond that? But that's what a lot of the next 5 years is.
Okay.
Running it up.
I got you. And this is a personal question, last one before we get up out of here. I know you love music, got an ear for music. Ooh. You made countless beats, and I done hopped on a few of them and rapped on them.
Hold on.
You missed the air.
No.
You missed the air.
I knew you was making beats.
Yeah.
Some tracks in the vault.
And I knew you was rapping.
Yeah, we didn't.
You was doing
but
that.
This is how it used to be. So let's give me an example.
Yeah.
Y'all know this is one song, bro. It's one of the favorite songs we ever did.
Y'all gonna sing it right now?
No,
I don't even recall. I had to really look hard.
I thought he was for the beatbox. He was for the.
You for the be also hustling the floor. Nah, so man, I might have made the beat, finished 10, 11 at night. I gotta go to sleep.
Yeah.
And then Mike was there. Mm-hmm. Mike did a verse, sent it to you. I woke up, song done.
And I was in
it's
Lithuania.
he overseas. So he's 6 hours ahead. So Mike might send him something, might be midnight. He waking up. Oh man, this Trey hard. He put a verse in the morning. By the time I wake up in the morning, the whole song done. That was what type of time we was on.
Yeah,
I was making music.
We were really making music from different spots in the world
y'all
together.
Still got the song?
Yeah, I got it on my phone. Last I play it after we get out.
Yeah, I got to see which song.
Oh, now you want to play it.
Yeah, that song. I wrote that little hook in there too.
Yeah, we're gonna add the song in.
Okay,
yeah.
You got to play it, man. I got to hear it.
All right.
No, we don't play it right now.
I'm gonna find it.
We gotta get a good clean version.
Yeah,
Let me hear
I
it
got
after
a
this
look.
one. We're gonna add it into this clip right here.
Okay. Final
So we're
edit.
just talking about it. Yeah.
Bet.
Yeah, but back to the question.
Y'all gotta have y'all little viral moment. You never know.
Yeah, not for real.
Man, we was a whole lot of that going on. You know what I'm saying? In the studio back then, boy, that was a time.
Studio, you know what I'm saying?
Who was in the studio? Y'all actually went to the studio?
Nah, Mark built the studio out in his in the room in his house.
Yeah, it
was in there tight. I'm telling you, it was half the size of this room.
Yeah, the styrofoam and shit up.
Man, all of it.
The real rapper seat with the
rapper seat
with the net in front of the mic
with the foam thing around it, man. Really, the lights on the bottom of the board.
LED'd up.
Thornton Road Studios.
I definitely was. I was going.
Man, you missed that. Was the time.
You was state to state.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
You sold out dates.
You know what I'm saying? Nah, no cap. Yeah. Look, man, Mark, we really appreciate you for coming on here. Obviously, you were in the discussions of being on here when we had first started talking about it last year.
It took a while.
And it took you the longest. How we get Vinny on here before you came on?
Oh, Vinny was going to be easy.
Yeah.
He was going to be easy. He ready now.
He like
you asked him to get on episode, he ready.
He like, come on.
Yeah.
It's all in the right time, and now everybody's ready. See, I couldn't come on there before. Now V ready.
We're
going to get our brother G-Rob, and we're going to do Dawg Talk.
We got another episode.
We're
going to really do Dawg Talk.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think me and Jess got a nice little setup for us. You know what I'm saying? We're going to make it like a... Nah, I'm just going to surprise you.
Okay, say less. Nah. Yeah, Mark, we really appreciate you coming on today.
And we need to get I'll tell you later. I'll tell you what we need to get.
Yeah, y'all coordinate on that. Yeah, now just send me the address and I'm there.
It's going to be in Orlando.
Okay.
We got to go to the studio to do this one.
Yes, sir.
Nah, I love that. That's cool.
To do it.
Look, it's been another great episode. You have been tuned in with Dawg Talk, the Dawg Talk podcast, full of the dogs. Me, Kenny Gaines, Mr. Kentavious, Caldwell-Pope, and our special guest for the day, but not a stranger, Mr. Marcus Thornton. We appreciate you, brother, for coming on. Hey, look, make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, comment, all that. Send it to your grandma because she ain't doing nothing but knitting stuff all night and day anyway, man. She want to watch this, man. So, look, we appreciate y'all for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see y'all, man.
Peace.